I'm Chrissy from Up the Winding Lane. Welcome to the garden today. So we're going to talk a little bit about May. I'm trying to go through this book and the kitchen garden calendar and go through it each month and kind of see if I'm missing anything and just take you along with me. So we're going to look at the month of May and see what are some of the things that you could be doing. I know this is a little bit later in May this time, but depending on what time zone, what garden zone, growing zone you are in, some of this is probably already passed, and some of this you probably have to really scrunch down into your shorter growing season. So let's get started. Somebody else is home today and they are weed eating outside, so hopefully you can hear me. I got a little bit of sinus stuff going on. This kind of comes and goes. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But anyways, so the very first thing in this book says that May is a seductive month, which I kind of think it is because we've had some cooler weather, we had some rain, and we had some really warm weather, and the stuff was really growing, and then it got cold. So the days are getting longer. You're feeling that. You're really wanting to just put everything out. But we had like frost at the end, a little bit later, like at the end of April, 1st of May part, and it kind of got a little chilly. So, but even with the milder or the cooler temperatures, a lot of this stuff we can get done. So I've been harvesting asparagus, which is what I'm sitting here next to. That actually started last month, but I've been harvesting asparagus. So if you have like artichokes or turnips, or maybe you planted some stuff like that early, then you can be harvesting that. Now, this is the time where we get to sow outdoors. I do, at least. I'm in growing zone 6B. So I've got plants out now, a lot more plants out. I did have to cover some up because I put them out and we got really cool temperatures. But now it's time to get some of those plants out, those seedlings, time to harden off plants. And this will be the time to plant the last of my seed potatoes if I have any. Mine are doing really well. I'm glad that I got them out. They all came up, so that's always really good. He's getting a little closer with that weed eater. Now, I haven't really netted fruit bushes before, but I'm wondering if I should, because my blueberries had a ton of blooms, and it looks like they're going to have a ton of blueberries. I do not remember this bush having that many before, so I'm wondering if maybe the chickens or the birds are eating all my blueberries. I don't know. It's time to weed regularly. Like, we got all this new growth coming up, and some of it I want here and some of it I don't. So definitely weed thoroughly and regularly and keep all of this nice and well watered. All right, so this nice warm weather also makes it to where we want to sow everything. But you may just have to kind of slow down a little bit. I did that. I got some of my plants out too early, and now they're kind of a little bit stunted, and so they're having a little bit harder time. So if you just kind of give it a little bit, and I gotta tell myself that. I'm gonna have to tell myself that, you know. But once that warmer weather hits and you plant those seedlings or you plant those seeds, they come up so fast, and they will actually do better than what you plant too early and then it gets cold and kind of stunts it a little bit. So here are some of the things that we can plant now in my zone. So a few things that I can plant, and I would say a lot of you can plant. You might have to cover them depending on where you are, but beets, corn. I don't know about corn salad. I've not planted that before. Simba's saying hi. He's always out here when we do this. And the other would be cucumbers. I do have those started, and I've got some planted. Green beans, I have some of those planted as well, and I do have some runner beans planted, and they have came up. Brussels sprouts, this is probably the last month to plant those because it does take them a little bit. You can sow some of the stuff indoors depending on the weather, like if you want some fall crops. I don't know that I would start them right now, maybe I don't know, July, depending on where you are. But I have put my peppers out, I've got my tomatoes out, so it should be okay for me now. And I do have cucumbers and squash and pumpkins and all that started in my greenhouse. I'm going to move those out here. I just wanted to make sure that the seeds actually started. I've got some older seeds that I started from like almost 10 years ago, and they sprouted. I was really kind of surprised, but that's awesome. So now I definitely just want to grow at least one or two of those and keep some and keep some of those seeds so that I have renewed seeds from those plants. One of my friends will be really excited because one of them she gave to me almost 10 years ago, and they came up, so that's pretty cool. It's funny, I did not read this before I did this, but this says sow seeds indoors to guarantee that they germinate successfully. Plant seedlings out next month. Funny because I actually did plant all my zucchini, pumpkin, and squashes in the greenhouse to see if they would germinate, and I'm gonna put those out soon. So I guess I could wait a couple of weeks or so. I'm actually in the middle of May right now, so I could wait a couple of weeks, I guess, and put those out, make sure they get a little bit bigger, and decide for sure where I want them, because I have a lot planted. I have a lot started. Probably too many. Just give you a little glimpse. Yeah, I got a few started. I'm not sure where I'm going to put them all. I have some that didn't come up. I'm really sad about this one, this loofah. I really want that to come up. But there's some squash. One of those is cilantro, and there's a horehound back there. Of course, is not squash or anything. But these empty spaces, I'm going to fill. They don't come up soon. There is so much that can be sown outdoors right now. Let's see, what am I sowing? I have beets. I did plant some more cabbage. I planted some more carrots. And let's see what else. Fennel. I do have that. That hasn't came up yet. Green beans. I did plant some more onions and kale, kohlrabi, lettuces, radishes, some beans, and let's see. I'm out of spinach. I never have really good luck doing that. And turnips, actually. Actually try putting some fennel in some of these raised beds and growing it that way, and using it kind of as a ground cover a little bit while it grows up. I did put some, I guess, companion planting. I don't know what you would call it other than that, but I did reseed some carrots in between the rows. Did the same thing with some of the beets and put, not reseed, but planted some more. And that way, hopefully, by the time, they should be up pretty good by the time I harvest these, and then I'll have like another to harvest later, so that would be succession planting, I guess. I just kind of took some of these seedlings and just put them out everywhere. I don't really have really good plan. I don't have like each bed is a certain thing. Some of these have squash, some of them have flowers, onions, kohlrabi seeds. They just have a few different things in them. So I did take and plant some kale, or some, let's see, what did I plant over there? Some turnips, like underneath the tomatoes. So the tomatoes are going to get taller, and then you can plant basil with the tomatoes. You can plant other herbs under them. I've got dill coming up everywhere. If you watched my garden tour, then you're going to know that. And but I've got like things coming up like that, and so that's really good just to put under there, and kind of, you don't want bare soil, so you can try to plant as much as you can and fit it into a small space. Some herbs that you plant may still need a little bit of cover, but root vegetables can be planted outside. I don't know why they're saying that they can be planted outside now. I've had mine planted outside for a while, as you can see. Those are beets, so I don't know. But it just says continue to sow main crops. So like peas, you could plant peas out. I've got my peas back here behind me. They're growing up there. I could probably plant some more of those. I just plant sugar snap peas. Those are the only kind of peas that I like. I do have some flowering peas over there though. Corn, that says sow directly outside. So my husband actually has a little garden back by the Caterpillar Tunnel, and he is planting corn. I started some corn in my greenhouse just today, actually, to see how that would do. I actually saw somebody do that. They did the Three Sisters gardening. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I hadn't really seen corn started inside and then planted out. I didn't think you could do that, but I guess you can always try different things and break the rules a little bit, huh? So this also talks about intercropping and catch cropping, which is really cool, which is actually something I've actually been doing, which is something that I have been doing, and probably didn't even maybe know it was a thing, or I don't know. But I don't sow the same thing in every bed. So you can put, well, that would be kind of like the Three Sisters gardening, where you put corn and then you plant a bean with it, and then you also grow squash. So that cuts down the weeds. The beans grow up the corn stalk, and that's why they started the corn before. That way, because you don't want the beans to come up before the corn. You got to give the corn a little bit of a head start. So this is just really good. Like I mentioned, you could plant radishes, or I was actually out of radish seeds, so I planted some turnips. You can plant some of those leaf covers underneath some of the taller crops. So for instance, I watched a video the other day and he was talking about when you plant tomatoes, of course, they feed off nitrogen. They love nitrogen. And so you can plant radishes, and then they won't have such leafy greens because the tomatoes are taking most of the nitrogen, and that way the radishes will put more into the root, which is what we eat more of, and they won't have such leafy greens, but they will provide a nice cover for the ground. May is the month when you should be able to start planting in earnest. Yes, I am. I actually have eggplant planted in the tower planters. I've got my peppers out. I planted some more jalapenos. I did not plant Brussels sprouts. I've not really had good luck with those. Cabbages I have out. Cauliflower I do not. I'm going to try fennel again. I've never tried celery. I'd really like to know if that's easy to grow. If you've grown that, let me know. Kohlrabi, I always plant that. Try to. There's that celery. Corn, we've got corn going. Cucumbers, and I've not done artichokes. Curious about those too. Let me know about those. I am excited about the herbs and my new herbal spot. So you can definitely see that in my video of my garden tour. I've never planted leeks. I'm not really even sure what those taste like. If you like them, let me know what you think, if they're easy to grow. Lettuces, I do have lettuces coming up. Finally, I've got those peas. My potatoes are doing well. Rhubarb. Actually, I have rhubarb this year. I'm really excited about that. I've really never eaten rhubarb. So we'll see how that works. I don't have broccoli either. My strawberries are really struggling. I should have got plants, I think. Sweet potatoes. So I have slips, and I think some of them are alive, and I'm trying to start my own slips. I did not know you could do that. I've been gardening for years and did not realize that you plant sweet potatoes by slips. I don't know that I've ever planted sweet potatoes. I think I've just always planted regular potatoes. So tomatoes, if you've been to Rural King or any place like that, you see there are all kinds of plants out. So I've got my tomatoes planted. I actually had them covered with, actually you can see one of them right there, and cut off the bottom of a water, like a gallon of water, and put it over the top of the tomatoes and some of the plants when we had a really cold spell. Definitely going to be planting these out soon. You saw those in the greenhouse, so I'm going to wait till it's super, super warm to plant those out so they can grow. Actually, why I have all these trellises, so I should have enough room. I mean, I have like 3 more trellises right there. I don't have anything growing on yet. I actually have 4. I have this one right here that I'm like kind of sitting underneath. All right, jobs for May. Talk about some jobs for May. We're definitely going to be hardening off seedlings, and if you've not done that, then you want to bring them out for a little bit of sunshine and wind, and then you take them back in. You kind of lengthen that as you go. And I love about my greenhouse was I could set a table out, and then I could set them out and then just take them right in there instead of carrying them from the house out here. You could also use a fan, or I've seen a lot of people just run their hands over them. Kind of helps them strengthen up a little bit. Water seeds and seedlings, so make sure you keep your seeds and your seedlings watered well so that they can grow well. Not drenched, but so that they can grow well. They get plenty of nutrients that way, gets all that stuff, and they can get those roots down and get that water. Weed regularly. I am doing that just a little bit at a time as I come out here, because some of that stuff is coming up, and especially after a rain, that's my very favorite time to weed because they're so easy to pull up. I'm really hoping we don't have any more frost, but it is a possibility. We've had some strange weather around here, so I'm just gonna have maybe a plan in place to protect everything from frost. I'm not sure how that's gonna work because I don't know if I guess I could pull all the sheets out again. The things are to thin out the seedlings. I hate doing that. I just hate it because that little plant, I just feel so bad. So I have actually been trying to either feed them to my chickens or trying to transplant them or move them somewhere else. But I've been growing stuff in plants. Make sure like stuff is supported. Like my beans back here are coming up, and I knew that's where they were going to be. Hill up potatoes. That is something I probably need to do. Yeah, probably need to do that. Yeah, but just support everything that's growing up. That's one way. I mean, you don't have to grow them up, but squashes and pumpkins and cucumbers and all that stuff, you want to make sure you use the most of your, I guess, the best use of your space. So grow vertical if you can, and that's why I have trellises. You can use old tomato cages, things like that. You could use pallets and slant them, anything to kind of give some more space, and then they can actually shade plants. That's what I'm doing right here, hopefully. One is to cover strawberries and remove runners. I do not have to worry about that in this bed. I have more weeds in here than I probably have strawberries. It says to pull off flowers of new strawberry plants, which I have heard, and really don't have any on here right now. Weed and mulch fruit bushes. These things are so big. See what I'm saying? Look at all those blueberries on there. This is the big bush, and I mean, I don't remember having this many on here before, so I'm wondering if something is getting in here and eating these. Maybe I do need to buy a net. I did prune my fruit trees today. I did prune some of the middle out of them. If there was new branches crossing or causing, looks like they were going to cause some issues, I went ahead and pruned those off, and that is one of them. The thin gooseberries. So I only have 2 gooseberry bushes, and they're tiny. I don't know that I'm going to have to thin those, but I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe it's kind of like letting air flow. I don't know if that's what that would be for or not, but I'm probably not going to thin those. So here are the gooseberry bushes, and that one I do not believe has fruit on it, but this one does. And I am so tempted to like pick these. I don't remember which ones these are. One of them is a Pixwell, and I don't know what the other one is because I believe they are 2 different kinds of gooseberry. I remember picking gooseberries at my grandma's house. She had a big gooseberry bush behind her house, and we picked them green, like sour. I loved them. And so I bought gooseberry bushes. I bought 6 of them, and only 2 survived because I planted them out here where probably forgot to water them very well. So these 2 are pretty hardy, and I'm really excited that they came back. I do not remember her gooseberry bush having thorns. These have thorns. Look at those. Just really wants to be in this video. He keeps following everywhere I go, don't you, Simba? Just wanting some attention. Now he's ignoring me. There are a few pests out. I better watch where I'm walking. So you're supposed to watch for flea beetles, slugs, and snails. I don't know that I ever have trouble with slugs or snails. Pigeons. I've not really had trouble with pigeons, I don't think. There are aphids that get on the beans and carrot flies. I have not seen those either. Asparagus beetles, that's interesting. I guess I should pay more attention. Maybe I should soak everything in like a vinegar water. And I've not really had these brassica collars where they go around. Let's see, what is that? In brassica to deter. Oh, so says to fit brassica collars around cabbages, cauliflowers, and broccoli to deter cabbage root fly. I don't know that I've had that either. You're supposed to check your apples and your pears. This poor thing. Yeah, the goats and the cow got out. The goats luckily did not kill all my trees. But if you have goats, this is what they do to trees. Luckily, did not kill it. I had one big peach tree and they stripped the bark off all the way around and it killed it. To net the strawberries, which I've not ever had to net my strawberries. I don't think so. I've actually put a hoop house over them, so maybe. But that was, yep, to keep the chickens out. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think it looks like I'm gonna get very many strawberries, to be honest. But I will check the pears and the apples. I mean, I've been kind of keeping an eye on them, and they seem to be okay. It does say to inspect the gooseberries. I'm not really sure for currants for sawflies and some aphids and American gooseberry mildew. I have no idea. Pick off or spray as necessary. I don't really spray. I don't know what to do about my trees. Or if you have something that you spray or you use, it's organic, because I don't want to like spray chemicals on them. This one is in really bad need of a trim. The other one, I'll show you that one. Here used to be about as big as this way as it was right there. And this whole branch, you can see, broke off because it was loaded with fruit. I had to do a little trimming, and but this all needs to be trimmed down. I would really like them to be, well, not much taller than this right here. That way I can get fruit off of them pretty easily. This one, on the other hand, is big too, so I'm gonna have to kind of trim it down. I think I can probably trim it down pretty good. That's May. All the May goodies, all the May jobs, at least around here. I think I'm probably kind of middle way, so what you do is going to really depend on what your growing zone is. And, but I would think most of you, I don't know. But anyways, that is that. So I am glad that I don't have too many things to do. I'm kind of doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess you could say. Just kind of keeping the ground covered, planting stuff, and getting other things planted underneath those taller vegetables and so forth. Planting lots of flowers this year, which I'm really enjoying. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to be lovely lights today.